Today we're visiting with Dee Thornton, who's a longtime member of Hope United Methodist Church. Dee, you've been a member at Hope for 41 years almost.
Yes.
Tell us how you first heard about that church.
Well, specifically, I don't really remember, but it probably was from a neighbor, or maybe we were attending University Park Methodist Church. It might have been from somebody there.
Yeah.
But we moved to Sundance Hills, which is close to the church, and I was very glad to have a church so close, especially for my son, who was 12 when we joined.
Yeah.
And he attended the youth programs there.
Right.
He just rode his bike over, and it was great for both of us.
Yeah. Well, you joined in December of 1979.
Say again?
You joined in December of 1979, and they were still meeting in the school at that time?
Yes, Bellevue School.
Yeah.
And Bob Cole was the minister. And my son Wesley and I stood up to join, and Bob said, Dee has just opened a business, and it would be nice if you would patronize
All
her
right.
business. And I was so thrilled that he said that. I could have hugged him.
That's great.
He was a really nice guy,
Yeah.
and he was good with my son.
Yeah. Tell us what you remember about meeting at the school.
Yes.
How did that go for a worship service?
I have no recollection.
Really?
It's weird. I just don't.
Yeah. Do you remember when they moved to the first building on the corner of Bellevue and Dayton?
Yes.
Yeah. What was that worship service like?
Well, it was fine. It worked out well. But, you know, folding chairs and all that. It wasn't like a regular sanctuary.
Right. They moved the chairs in and then moved them out as
Yes.
they needed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Al Brown was the pastor at that time. What do you remember about Al Brown?
Well, Al married my daughter and her husband. And Al's sermons were, his sermons were emotional and storytelling type, and he was telling a story about something, and he'd go, and then, and this little 5-year-old girl in the front row said, "Oh no!" Everybody laughed.
I guess so.
But one thing I remember about Al, he got up in front of the congregation and took a cherry stem and tied it with his tongue.
My word.
That was part of the sermon.
I remember him doing a rope trick, I think one time at a talent show or something, that he had kind of a magic trick with a rope that he'd tie a knot and then have it untie itself.
Yeah. Well, it was entertaining. And I did, when I had my agency, I did 3 trips to Oberammergau with the church. And Al and Laura were the first couple that went with the group.
Well, tell us about that.
That worked out.
And you did all of the arrangements and the
Yes.
logistics?
Yes.
And-
Al and Laura were the core persons. They were the ones that got the people to go.
Yeah.
It took him a while, but we finally made it.
Well, tell us about those trips.
Well, it's a passion play in Germany, and but we went through Switzerland and all around. It was a regular European trip,
Yeah.
with the highlight being Oberammergau.
Yeah. Well, that's a world famous place. They only do it occasionally?
They only do it every 10 years, but
Oh.
in between the 2 10 years that I did it, they had a special one for some reason. And yeah, Dick
Yeah.
Vickery took
Yeah.
one of the groups. I
Yeah.
didn't go that time. And then I went the 3rd time with a group from church. And then when Sam Day was minister, we took a group to Israel, he and Barbara, and Sam's sister, who was a lovely, lovely woman. And that was a good trip, and I know Sam enjoyed it a lot.
I didn't know that. Where did you go?
Just all around Israel, just the regular package.
Yeah. Well, tell us what you remember about Sam Day.
Oh, he was the best. Everybody loved him. And I like Barbara too. I sat with her every Sunday in church because I was single then. And I don't know, Sam kind of took me under his wing. I was head of worship committee for about, I think, 4 or 5 years, a long time. And poor Sam came to every single meeting, even though they were so boring. But he was so good about that.
Well, people have said he was a good preacher, but he was also a good administrator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And everybody loved him. And he loved everybody.
I think so.
In return. So.
Well, you mentioned that Wes was in the youth group and that you served on the worship committee. Were there other things that you were involved
I
with?
was on every committee except SPR. And I wish I'd been on that. Nobody asked me.
Some people don't want to be on that committee.
It can be tough, I'm sure. But my favorite committee was, and I can't think of the name of it, the physical church.
Oh, trustees?
Trustees.
Yes. Yes.
That was my favorite. And Bert Goins was head of it. Yeah. And they gave him a hard time. We had fun.
And I think you should at church. That's okay.
Right, yeah. Then when they finished the kitchen, I was still on that committee, and the ladies wanted the kitchen locked up so nobody could get in and mess it up, because that's what happens.
Yes.
Well, I spent a whole hour trying to convince the committee that it should be locked up, and I lost.
Oh.
Nobody would go along with it. But it's worked out okay. UMW has contributed quite a sum of money to restock the kitchen. The silverware, the dishes, the towels, and stuff gets, lost, and so it's, they're lucky UMW can write a check.
Yes, yes. Well, you remember the first building had a kitchen, but it looked like a closet. It was so tiny.
It was horrible.
Yeah. And you're talking about the expansion when they actually developed a real kitchen.
Oh, yeah, it's
with
so nice now.
some room, yes. And there was a little controversy about that, as I recall. Some people wanted a smaller kitchen, some people wanted a bigger kitchen. Did you get involved in some of that?
No, I don't think I did. It's just the ladies always want a bigger kitchen and the men don't. That's standard procedure.
That's right.
Oh. But then when they started the sanctuary,
Yes.
I was put on a committee of 4 ladies to pick out the decor. And I think it was Margaret who appointed us. I'm not sure about that.
Margaret Hankins.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Lily Glasgow was one of them, and there were 2 other gals. Well, the other 2 gals had decided that the color scheme was going to be royal blue and gray, which is very nice, and it would look good in the kitchen and bathrooms and the offices and that. But when they said, we're going to paint the sanctuary gray, I reared up on my hind legs and said, no, it would not look good. It would be too depressing. Because why would you want gray in the sanctuary?
Yep.
It's supposed to be cheerful. So they wouldn't budge. And they said that's what it's going to be. There was no discussion. So I went in the office and I got Margaret. And she came out and she said, "Oh no, it can't be gray." And very nicely she talked them out of it. So now the sanctuary is kind of a light beige color.
Yes.
And it's much better.
I agree.
Looks good.
I agree. Well, Margaret was one of the first women in the Rocky Mountain Conference to be a lead pastor. Did you have any thoughts about her being a senior pastor?
Well, Margaret was just a good friend. And she and Jim moved in shortly after I moved in here.
Yes, they live close to
So
you.
they lived 4 doors down, and we were just neighborly. So I knew them quite well.
Well, she took your side in the dispute about the colors. What else do you
Yes.
remember about Margaret?
Oh, and I thought her sermons were great, and she worked so hard to get, to increase the congregation and to make the church very viable, and she did.
Yes.
She was very good.
She was a joint pastor with Steve Miller later.
Steve Miller
Yeah, you remember him?
married Phil and
Oh.
me.
Oh, good.
And we went in his office to pick out which service we want, because in the book of services, or whatever they use, there were 4 different wedding services.
Yes.
And you went through this, I'm sure.
Yes, with Sam Day married Sharon and me.
Yeah. And we picked out one that we liked. Then we get up on the stage and he's reading the service, and I'm going, I don't think that's the one we picked out.
Oh.
So I go, oh, heck, we're married, what difference does it make? So anyway, that was kind of fun, but I really liked him. I thought he was
Other pastors or people that you remember from the church? Stephanie Price, you have interaction with her?
I love Stephanie.
Well, you've been a member of this church for 41 years, Dee. Tell us what this church meant to you and your family.
Well, it's, part of your life, practically. When you go every Sunday and you participate in all the goings on over there, it's a big part of your life.
Yeah.
And it was good for my son. My daughters were already in college, and they didn't have much to do with the church.
Sure. What do you like best about Hope Church?
The people. It's very social,
Yes.
which is nice. And I've made a lot of lifelong friends there. That means a lot.
Sure does. Well, you've seen Hope grow and expand and contract over the last 41 years. What would you like to see from Hope in the next 41 years?
I won't be around. Well, I hope that it at least stays status quo, but it would be nice if it expanded a little bit.
Yeah.
But, all churches, and especially Methodist churches, are leaning toward the left. And Hope has a large conservative group of people, and it's very tough. I
Yes.
think there's a lot of clashing between the two. But the Methodist Church in general is leaning toward the left.
And as you know, there are a lot of discussions going on at the present time about how to address all of those issues.
Yes,
Yep. And we hope and pray that they work out well.
it's very difficult.
Yes.
It's like a no-win situation.
Do you have other special memories of either people or events that happened at the church?
Well, I think I've touched on most of them. the social aspect of the church is really booming. Our ladies' bridge group, we had 6 tables at the church, so there are a lot of bridge players there. And then the congenial couples was changed to congenial members because there were lots of widow ladies and single men that wanted to come. So
Sure.
that worked out okay.
Yeah.
And they're trying to reorganize that because we used to have it in our homes.
Mhm.
And there's only a few homes that can accommodate and only a few people that would do it, and that's not really fair.
Yeah.
So they're trying to go to other places, have other venues. However, I did have a garden party here last Friday night,
Is it?
and we do serve wine and beer. Methodists don't drink.
Yes.
And I decided that we should serve sangria. So we made 3 recipes with peach brandy, no, apricot brandy,
Yeah.
and 3 bottles of wine, and it just went. It was a good party. Plus a box of wine.
Sharon and I had a house blessing that Margaret Hagens did, and we put the
I
wine
remember
on the
that.
back porch, and everybody, when they found it, was like, "Oh, I wonder what it was a popular item."
Yes.
That's right.
I remember your wedding,
Yeah,
and I got to cut the cake.
that was a good idea. That was fun
And-
times.
Yeah, and that house blessing of yours.
Yes,
So those are nice things to remember.
yes, they sure are. Yep. Any other things or think you could come to mind about your involvement at Hope Church?
I'll remember as soon as you're done.
That's right. Well, Dee, I want to thank you for sitting for this interview, and I appreciate your membership and your service at Hope. You've been a vital part of that community for a long time, and we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.